Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Nadine, and if you're new here, then don't forget to click the like and subscribe, do the thumbs up, the bell notification and subscribe, and then you see other videos along this line which I post and intend to post more frequently. So the subject of today's video is how I stopped using food to numb my emotions. And if you've tuned into this video, if you've clicked into it, I suspect that you maybe do use food to numb your emotions, which is exactly what I did. So there's no judgment here. This is a judgment-free zone. I hope that you gain some tips from this video, from my story, and from some of the strategies that I've used. And if you stick around till the end of the video, I have a bonus tip, which I'm happy to share, which hopefully will give you an extra strategy, let's put it that way, an extra strategy for coping with using food to numb your emotions. So let's dive in. I'm going to grab my green tea. I drink a lot of this nowadays, so you could use that as a tip. Green tea, it's nice and filling, it's comforting. I like to wrap my hands around the mug and really settle in. So let's start with the story. Using food to numb my emotions is something that I have done all my life up till a couple of years ago. And I could have filmed this video a year ago, but I chose not to, because I wanted to be absolutely certain that I'd conquered this demon, I guess. I wanted to be certain that I could say with absolute authority and honesty, I no longer am an emotional eater. I wanted to be able to say that and have it be the truth. And a year ago, whilst I had conquered things, it was all still very new, I guess. It was new, and it was, yay, I've done this, yay, I'm doing okay. And I just wanted, though, to have time with that new identity of not being an emotional eater. I wanted to have time with that being in me, in my body, so that I could honestly say, yeah, I feel like the majority of the time I've cracked this. So one of the things that I would just say to you is all or nothing thinking, i.e., it has to be 100% quote unquote perfect or nothing at all, is not going to serve you if you're an emotional eater. And that was a big hurdle that I had to get over. Thinking that I had to be quote unquote perfect. Newsflash, none of us are perfect. Nobody's perfect. So if one of your things that you say to yourself in your head is, oh, let's say for argument's sake, it's the 1st of January. I'm starting my diet. I'm going to do my diet and it's the 1st of January. More often than not, by the 5th of January, we've already quote unquote failed, because these are the words that we say to ourselves. This is the language that we say to ourselves. It isn't failure. It is not failure. It's being a human being. That's what it is. Let's let go of the need to have everything perfect, because perfectionism is actually holding you back. Perfectionism isn't getting you moved forward in your goal. Perfectionism is actually pulling you right back to where you started. How many years, if weight or being an emotional eater is something that you have struggled with throughout your life, how many years have gone by that you've set yourself a 1st of January weight loss goal, and how many years is it further on? 5 years, 10 years, 20 years? How many years are you still in the same boat than you were back when you first set that intention to lose weight? So that pattern of constant struggling should ring an alarm bell. What is it that's not working? I'll tell you what's not working. A big thing is perfectionist thinking. It has to be all or nothing. I have to be perfect, otherwise forget the whole thing. So an example might be, I've had a biscuit. I'm on a diet and I've had a biscuit. Actually, I had 2 biscuits and then I had 3. Now, in my case, These days, if I want a biscuit, I'll have a bloody biscuit. I'll have what I want. Sorry for the language. If I want one, I will have one. I would stop at 2, maybe 3. Depends on how I feel. Depends on how I feel. But I would stop at 2 or 3. Historically, if I was on a quote unquote diet and I had 2 or 3 biscuits, I would ultimately think, what is the point? I've ruined it. I've ruined everything, and have the rest of the packet. So it's all or nothing thinking, which is a really big thing that can get in people's way when they're looking to lose weight. For me, being an emotional eater, and this is part of my story, so one of the tips I would say to you is get curious about those times when you end up emotional eating. Don't judge yourself. None of us are perfect. Just get curious. Just notice. Don't even try to change it for right now. Just observe it. That's all I would say. Observe it. If you find yourself going for sweet stuff or savoury stuff or whatever it is that's your go-to, have whatever it is you need. Soothe yourself however you need. We're going to get to how we're going to fix it, so don't worry about it. It's not a problem. Soothe yourself if you need to soothe yourself, but then get curious. What was it that sent me there? What happened? What spiked in my emotion? What went on for me just before that need to eat that hit? Figure it out. Start to keep a diary. You may notice a pattern. In my case, I had 3 triggers that these were 3 main triggers, I'd say, that would send me to emotional eating. So the first one would be tiredness. That's my biggest thing. That is my biggest one. If I'm overtired, if I've expended too much energy, if I am basically overtired, dog tired I would call it, I have 0 willpower. And I'm not even suggesting we use willpower as to get you through. But what I mean is when I'm overtired, I couldn't give a crap. I don't care about the weight I plan to lose or the whatever it is. When I'm overtired, I feel weak. I feel weak in my will and I feel weak in my body. Most people who don't have this particular problem, if they're tired, they would rest. It makes sense, doesn't it? I wouldn't. If I would go for a sugary something to give me an energy spike, and that's where I was going wrong. So instead of resting, like I should do, I was eating. So being overtired is one of the main ones in my case. These days, I try to manage my energy levels in such a way that I don't end up so overtired that I'm at the end of my fraying rope. I build rest into my day, I manage myself better, and I don't ride on my own back cracking a whip, forcing myself, do this, do this, do that. I actually give myself a break. Do you know what? We're human beings, not robots. We need to build in time to rest. We need more balance. And so I make sure these days that I have plenty of balance in my day. Second thing that would turn me to emotional eating is if I needed a hug. If I needed a hug, I used to use food to give me a hug. Those of you who have this particular struggle will know exactly what I mean. Make you feel better, make me feel soothed. If I needed a hug, yeah, these days I will go and get a hug from wherever I need one. And if there's nobody, I have a husband and children, so I have people in the household who I can hug. If there's nobody in the household, or if I'm alone and I need a hug, one of the things that I would then do is go and take a hot bath. I find being immersed in water, if you have a hot tub at home, that's the same thing. Either get in the bath, get in a hot tub. I would immerse myself in warm or even hot water because I like it. I like the bath hot. That feels like a hug if you're needing a hug. So that's a quite nice little strategy if you are alone and you haven't got anyone to hug. Also, if you live on your own perhaps and there's nobody who you are in regular touch with who you can hug, then if it's available to you, treat yourself to a massage. Skin on skin contact is really nourishing, and a massage would hopefully might help you feel better. So rest and hug, that's 2 of the things. The third thing that would send me to emotional eat if it reared its head was if I had a need to cry, if I felt low, if something had happened and it stirred my emotions in such a way that I needed to cry. I suppose it's closely linked to the hug one, is this. I would turn to food, emotional eating. So those were my triggers. Now I would advise you to get curious about whatever the trigger is for you. Whatever it is that caused you, before you did that emotional eating, what happened? Did someone have an argument? Did someone overstep your boundary? Do you need a rest? Whatever it is, get curious and write it down, because this is how you will start to form a picture and an independent picture of what's going on for you, which will help you eventually overcome it. And then once I started to understand what was going on for me, what was making me want to eat, to self-soothe, I could start to put strategies in place. So if I was, for example, in an environment where I knew that I might get upset, so maybe there's somebody going to be in this environment who maybe we don't get along, or maybe they overstep my boundaries, I would put strategies in place, figure out ahead of time how I'm going to handle them, because then they've got less chance to trigger me and then send me rushing off to the food. So that would be something that I would do. Also, when you get the urge in your mind to eat, the thing that makes you want to eat, you start thinking, oh, shall I go get whatever it is to nibble on? I started to put some space in between the thought of I'm going to go get a biscuit and the actual going and getting of the biscuit. So I would start to put space in between. In the past, I would have the thought, and automatically, like a robot, I would go, a robot being issued a command, I would go and get whatever it is that just popped into my head and then eat it mindlessly. I wasn't even really enjoying it. I was just doing it mechanically, like a robot, not even thinking. What I started to do was started to tune in. I would get still and even close your eyes, and I could put my hand on my heart or a hand on my belly, and I could think, where's this hunger in the body? Where do I feel this hunger? Do I feel it in my belly? Am I hungry? Have I got hunger pangs going on down here? Or do I feel okay down here and it's the head, it's my head telling me, go and get something, go and get something. So not always, most of the time it was head hunger. There were some times where it was, no, I am actually hungry, I need to eat. And in which case you go and eat, of course you do. That's what we all would do. But sometimes you may not need to eat. You're not actually hungry, but that signal coming through is in your mind. It's head hunger. Right, okay. So the head hunger, in my case, what I would do is I figured out the best way to handle that would be to distract myself if I could. So if I had head hunger, instead of getting up to go and get whatever it is my head is telling me to get, I would, if I felt like doing so, I would put my shoes on and walk around the block and get some extra steps in. That physical movement and literally moving your body, moving your state. So instead of being sat on your sofa with the energy that you're inhabiting in that moment, you've got the signal in your brain, go and get some food. Instead of sitting there and fighting with the brain, no, you don't need it. It's almost like, put the tea down. It's almost like angel on one shoulder and devil on the other. Go and get the biscuit. No, you don't need it. And it's this internal battle going on. Instead of entertaining that battle, because who needs to entertain that nonsense? I would put my boots on or my trainers on, walk around the block and literally move my body, because the movement shifts the energy. Getting up from the seat that you're in, actually, even if you got up from this seat and went and sat in a different seat, you are literally changing your perspective. You're changing what's going on in here and sitting in a different place, and you're shifting energy. That would often help. Another little trick. A while ago, I found this nose inhaler thing. It was like the size of a lipstick, but you screw off the top and it's an inhaler, and you put it up one side of your nose and close your other side and inhale. And it's like a vanilla flavor, I guess is the best word to describe it. But I would inhale that in both sides of my nostril, and that hit of vanilla to the brain, it kind of sends my brain a sweet signal. I've had my sweet treat. That's a really good trick, because I'm not consuming any calories there. I'm just inhaling, giving my brain what it needs, and then perhaps walking around the block to shift the state. And these are things that I would do to disrupt or to address the head hunger. Let's put it that way. Just wanted to take a quick sip because I'm talking non-stop like this, but I have so much information to get out. I also will do other videos along this subject because this is too much information for a short YouTube video. But one of the things also that I would tell myself is an emotion only lasts 90 seconds unless you fuel it with your stories. So this is something that I teach in my meditation classes, particularly. I'm a yoga teacher and I also teach meditation now, and this is from the past 2 years. Since February 2022, I've been doing that, and now I teach meditation classes. And that's one of the things that I say in my classes. If people are sat in meditation and a thought or an uncomfortable emotion comes in to the body or the mind, just try to sit with it and deep breathe through it, because an emotion just lasts 90 seconds. It'll peak in the body and then it'll dissolve. It'll go. And that peak, that we're feeling increasingly uncomfortable as the emotion is peaking within us. And often in the past, at that peak is where I couldn't stand it any longer and I would go and get some food to numb that emotion. But it isn't dealing with the emotion. So allowing the emotion to rise, peak and dissolve within you, just telling yourself, this only lasts 90 seconds. It only ever starts to last longer when we fuel it with our stories. Well, I feel this way because they did that. They did that to me, or whatever. Is that really what happened? Or are we getting caught up in an emotional entanglement? Stepping back, deep breathing, and allow the emotion to rise and fall, allow it to dissolve. And you may find that the head hunger goes. Distraction is a really good way of getting rid of the head hunger. In terms of breath work, deep breathing is something that will help you cope with the feelings of discomfort. I do have some breath work videos on my YouTube channel. I'm going to link them here, and I'm going to link them in the notes below this video so that you can try different breath work modalities. So there's a box breath, there's a lion's breath, there's an alternate nostril breath. There are different ways of breathing that help different states. So if say you're cold and you want to warm up, there's a breath work that can help you do that. If you're hot and you want to cool down, there's a breath work modality that can help you do that. So there's different breath work strategies or techniques, I guess, for different things that you might need them for. But all breath work is good for helping you to send signals to your brain that show that you're not in danger. Your parasympathetic nervous system is activated. This is rest and digest. This is helping to calm you down, and it should help any head hunger cravings to dissolve. So those are some of my tips and some of the story of what went on with me. A bonus tip that I did want to share for staying to the end of this video is I've got a few things in my little basket for treats. So these are the foam sweets, and these are pastels which have sugar all over them. So these are a bit soft and chewy, and these ones are just a sugar hit, basically. If I get to a stage where I do all the techniques, and more often than not, the desire to eat goes, more often than not. But sometimes, no matter what technique I employ, walking around the block, breath work, trying to get curious about the hunger, something inside is like, have it, and I have no will, I guess, or no strength to say no. And if that's the case, then I have it. I have whatever it is that little me inside my head is stomping her feet and demanding, and I have it. But the tip I limit the damage. This is damage limitation. Once upon a time, I would have opened the packet and eaten the whole packet. And I don't know how many calories are in the entire packet, because they tell you per 100 grams and they tell you per 7 sweets. That's 143 grams in that packet, and I don't know how many sweets, but they don't make it easy for you to understand the overall total calories. I'd have to sit with a calculator and a pen and a piece of paper and work that out. But what I would do for your bonus tip, get yourself some Tupperware containers that are just small portion containers, and what I would do is decide I wouldn't have 7 sweets. That's not going to cut it for me. If I was going to have some, maybe 14 sweets might satisfy me, so a double helping of what they recommend here. So in that case, I would count 14 sweets into this, and I would do this ahead of time, not when I'm in the grips of I just want to eat. I would do this ahead of time. Like now, I have no desire to eat or to nibble or to snack, so right now I'm well in control of myself, and I could put these sweets into these tubs, and so that separate them out so that there was 14 in each. And then if there is a moment where I feel weak and I feel I just want to eat something sweet and this is what I want, I would head for the tub and I would take it away, leave the kitchen area, take my tub, go and sit back in front of the telly, and I would do whatever it is that I needed to do. But I'm somebody, and many of us were raised this way, you have to finish everything that's on your plate. That was our conditioning. Finish everything that was on your plate. So now, whether we still need that food or not, we're programmed to finish all the food that was on our plate. It's all or nothing. So if I was to open this once upon a time, I would eat the lot because I finish everything that was on the plate. What this does is it helps limit the damage. I will eat everything that's in that portion, but it isn't the full bag. So that is my bonus tip for you. I really hope that you've got some value from this video. I do hope you'll check out some of my other videos. I've done others on emotional eating, and like I mentioned, the breathwork videos. I also have a few yoga and stretch videos on my channel. So if you're looking for some movement to do that you're able to do to move in your body, get into your body, do check out those videos. They're free to use, and you may find that you feel better after having a 10-minute stretch. So thanks ever so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.